Hi, this is Kara McNull, and I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up! And today I'm going to show you how to create this card. It is a cased card, and the creator is Joyce Whitman, and she used the Waterfront Stamp Set, and the stamp set looks like this. It is from the 2018 Occasions catalog, so you can purchase this stamp set until May 31st of 2018. And it's a photopolymer stamp set. So let's get started creating this card. Let me just show it to you first. It looks like this. There's a lot of stamping here, and on the inside quite a bit more, and then I also carried the design to the envelope as well. So we'll get started showing you how to create this card, and we're going to get all of the stamping done first. So we'll bring in our three pieces we're going to be using, and let me give you the dimensions on these. This is a piece of Whisper White, and it's cut 2 by 4 3/4. We also have our inside panel, which is our standard inside panel of 4 by 5 1/4, and we also have our Whisper White envelope, which we will stamp. The ink colors we're going to be using, we're using quite a bit. So we are using Old Olive for the grass, or no, the trees, Pool Party for the water. We're also using Lemon Lime Twist, and that's for the grass. We're using Crumb Cake for the mountains. And we're using Crushed Curry for the sun, and Dapper Denim for the sentiment and the splatter. So we'll be doing all three at once. We'll be using the photopolymer stamp set, so we'll need our piercing mat and some scrap paper. And we'll start with the Dapper Denim. And we're going to, what I like to do on this is I like to work top to bottom. So that's what we'll be doing today. So I'm going to take our sentiment, friends make the good times better. And I'm just going to ink that up with Dapper Denim, and I'm going to stamp it right up in the top corner here. Our next step is going to be using, we'll go to the inside, and we'll be stamping that sentiment as well. So again, this is a piece of Whisper White, and it is cut 4 by 5 1/4, which I mentioned earlier. So I'm just going to ink up the sentiment, and I want to make that sure that this is closer to the top, because we've got a lot of design work on this panel. And we do want to make sure we leave enough room here to write our message. And then our Whisper White envelope, there's no sentiment on that, so we'll skip that. So let's go back to our focal point, and we're going to take Crushed Curry, and we'll ink that up using the sun image. This one's very easy to do. Just bring it, stamp right up there. And again, we're starting this process, so make sure you're about, almost a halfway up from the bottom. It just all depends on how much water you want in your on your panel. So we've got the sun there, and next step is the sun. Make sure it's going the correct way. Don't want an upside envelope, but if you do, well, that's okay too. All right, so we've got our sun done. The next thing are going to be the mountains. So we're done with our Crushed Curry. We'll get that out of the way, and we'll bring in our Crumb Cake. And we will ink up the mountains. Again, this is the envelope, so we're going to create 2 sets of mountains right here. So what I do is I just I stamp one down, and then I ink up again, and I overlap, and trying to keep it straight going across. So I'm not going to go all the way across because you do need a place to write your address there. So we're done with that one, and we'll bring in the panel for the inside, and I'm going to stamp here. And again, it is stamped all the way across, so we're going to be overlapping the mountains and trying to keep it straight across going on the bottom. Okay, so that one is done. Crumb Cake, we're all set with that one. And the next color we're bringing in is Lemon Lime Twist for the grass. And we'll bring in the grass stamp. And I have a problem with this. I don't know what side goes which. So it's, I guess, all about choice. So I'm going to, I guess I'm going to go this way. So what I'm looking for is I'm going to overlap the Lemon Lime Twist onto the crumb cake because I don't really want a lot of white space showing. And it kind of just blends your mountains and your grass together. So again, that's the inside panel. Oh, you know what we forgot to do, or I forgot to do? I forgot to stamp the mountain on that panel there. So let's just bring that back in real quick, and we will stamp that. Sorry about that. I got one step ahead of me here. So just making sure I have enough space between the mountain. I'm gonna bring it so it's more centered over the sun. And again, we're gonna overlap. So sorry about that. Okay, since we've got that one here, we will bring in the Lemon Lime Twist and add the grass to this piece. And again, I'm going to overlap the colors. And finally, our envelope. And again, overlap your mountains and the grass. And we're done with the Lemon Lime Twist. All right, our next step is to add the water image, and I'm using Pool Party ink. And just find that image, and we'll just ink it up. And again, we're going to be stamping this one several times, overlapping the Lemon Lime Twist and the Pool Party. Okay, so that's our envelope. And we'll work on the inside panel. It's so much easier I think it's much easier, maybe you don't, but I do, is to just stamp the same image when you're stamping multiple times. It saves quite a bit of time, and you'll get through your card much quicker. All right, so that one's done, and now we're going to add the ripple effect, I guess you would call it, the waves. And again, I'm going to use Dapper Denim. I'll just bring that one in, and on the panel, I'm only going to, I'm going to kind of put it in the middle here. Looks like that. And again, this one we'll be doing twice. So we're just going to start here. And we just make sure they're not kind of going, you know, same height. Just alternate the heights there. And then lastly, our envelope. Okay, so that's done. And next is the splatter. I kind of love adding splatter to your card. And again, we'll be using the Dapper Denim. So let me just bring that back into the picture here. And we'll just ink up the splatter. And we're just going to splatter towards the top of that Pool Party ink. And I'm just going to splatter all the way across. And just a little bit there. All right, and now our inside panel, same thing. Now, if you wanted to add more of the dots where there's a little bit more white space, you can do that just by re-inking and then just turning your panel in a different direction. So this one here. Okay, so that one's all set, and the last thing we're going to be adding would be the trees. So as you can see on this one, there's two on this side and one on this side. So I'll show you how to do that. We use old olive ink. So on this side, I'm only going to ink up 2 of the trees. So I'm just gonna go on my ink pad here and just carefully ink up 2, and then I'm going to look at the bottom of the the trunks there and make sure I'm stamping in the green area. And there's that one. And now I'm going to ink up, bring this ink pad in so you can see it. I'm going to ink up that tree on the right side and stamp one tree on this side right under the sun. Okay, so that one is completed, and we're going to do the next same kind of way. This one I don't think it really matters all that much. I'm going to stamp off the edge here so I get half of a tree, and I think that's good enough. I think if you add a little bit more it would be too much, and it would take away from the image. And this one, again, I'm just going to stamp 3 and put it right there smack in the middle. All right, so I believe we're all set with our stamping, and we will assemble our card. So let me just get that out of the way, close up our ink pads. And I'm going to, let's see, my silicone mat's here somewhere. I'm going to bring my silicone mat. And our card base today is a Dapper Denim card base, and it is cut 8.5 by 5.5 and scored at 4 1/4. So I'll just bring in my bone folder and give it a nice crisp crease there so it will lay flat. We don't need that right now, so what we'll do is we're going to assemble the other pieces here. So I've got a piece of crumb cake, and that is cut 4 by 5 1/4. I've got a piece of Night of Navy, and that is cut 2 1/4 by 3 3/4. So 2 1/4 by 3 3/4. And a piece of Designer Series paper. This is an old one, but I like the colors in it, so that's why I chose it. And this is cut 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. So what we'll do is we'll just add our adhesive on this piece here, and we're going to adhere it to the crumb cake panel with 1/4 inch on the top, left, and right. Okay, so we've got that one done. And now the Night of Navy, I'm just going to add the adhesive on the back side real quick. And we're going to match it up to the bottom of the Designer Series paper, making sure it's straight. And that looks good. All right, so we're going to be working with this piece where we're going to be adding this seam binding here. So I'm going to just add a small not a small amount, but some adhesive right to about there. I'm not going to add any over here. And I've done this ahead of time. I've just tied a knot here just to save some time here. So I'm going to add this right here off to the side, and then I'm just going to try to lay this as straight as I can. A little difficult on camera, but we'll try to get it as straight as I can. All right, so then I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to bring in some Scotch tape, and I'm just going to tape this down here so the ribbon is secure. And on this one, I'm just going to make sure I've got it straight there, which I do. Okay, so now I'm going to work with this little knot here. So I've got to bring in my eraser here. Stampin' Up! Doesn't carry these anymore, but I'm thankful I purchased it a couple years back, because this does just take off the adhesive. Okay, now I'm going to just bring in my ribbon scissors here. These are just my sewing scissors, and I'm just going to give these ends a nice cut, angle cut. All right, that looks good. And our next step is to add this piece onto the Dapper Denim card base. We're almost finished. 1/4 inch on all 4 sides. All right, and now we're going to add the focal point here. I'm going to bring in 5 dimensionals, one for each of the 4 corners and one in the middle. Okay, I'm just going to give those a little pinch in the middle because that's you can get the backings of the dimensionals off so much quicker if you just take an extra second to do that. All right, so now what you want to do is make sure you're underneath that ribbon, and I'm going flush to the top here, and then I'm going to just gently look at it before I really adhere it down. I think it's straight, so I'm just going to press where those dimensionals are and then pick up my ribbon there. So now the last thing we need to do is add the inside panel to the card. One strip there, and 1/4 inch on all 4 sides. Great, there you have it. There's our card for today. So here's the card, the inside. I just love that. I love Joyce's design, and just adding that and carrying it over to your envelope is pretty nice. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you'd like to purchase this stamp set, please visit my website at inspiredbygraham.com. Thanks for watching.